This week on the Analog Circle podcast, could EA Access be coming to PlayStation 4? CupHead is being released on the Nintendo Switch. Are you serious? CD Projekt Red has multiple projects in the works that could release sooner than you think. Sony's next VR headset could be wireless. Epic continues to show that they mean business when it comes to their digital store. And is Nintendo planning to release multiple Switch units before the end of the year? All of these stories and more in episode 94 of the Analog Circle podcast. I am your host, Keon Mitchell, and I must say thank you for tuning in to another podcast, because you could have been anywhere in the world, but we're here together, brother. So with that being said, man, quite a bit of news came out this week. My goodness. And we're going to jump right into it in just a minute. But if you would like to be part of the show, you can do that two different ways. You can either call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard, or you can email the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com. Oh my goodness. So guys, what have I been into this week? Man, I tell you, I've been playing Sleeping Dogs, brother. Yeah, Sleeping Dogs. I mean, I think that game came out maybe 2010, 2011. Well, I got it on the Xbox One, and my goodness, the game is absolutely fantastic. I mean, what really keeps me coming back playing this older game is the storyline is really, really good. It's a good story. Gameplay is really good. I'm not going to say it's really good. I'm going to say it's good, because the game does have its fair share of problems, but not enough to where it'll make you say, you know what, I quit. I'm putting this down. It's not nearly that bad, but it's an excellent game. But outside of that, I haven't really been into too much more this week. But with that being said, I want to get into my favorite part of the podcast, and that is the feedback section, brother. And we have here again a long-term emailer. I mean, this brother has held this section down since doggone near day one. So I want to get into Mr. Cody Clark's email. Now, the title of his email is Real Life DLC Quest. He says, and this is his answer to my question last week: can the all digital Xbox One really sell? So here is his rebuttal. He says, I love the idea of an all digital system. I think it is a great way to reduce cost. They don't have to pay Sony any cash for a Blu-ray player. You don't need a laser or a lens or optical sensor. You remove moving parts, and in parentheses he puts besides a HHD scratch disk hard drive, but they should make that thing a friggin' SSD anyways. He continues to say the system can be lighter, smaller, and cheaper. All good things. I can still get a USB 3.1 or USB-C or an HDMI or some other device to add on an external drive if they decide they need them or the demand is there to add things. My phone can't take discs. My new laptop can't take discs or CDs. I mean, I hate to admit it. I don't like or want physical objects like that. I stopped buying non-digital books last year. The last, 8 or 9 books I read were all Kindle books. The only time I put a disc in my Xbox is when Goose, shout out to Goose. Goose makes me borrow a game so we can online co-op. Cat food and beer. Those are basically the only physical items I buy anymore. American broadband is still totally lagging behind the rest of the world, and on days when Xbox Live or the internet go down and you can't access your stuff, sucks. Infrequently, this will always happen. Not just to Xbox, but to access all technology. but I still pay for and use Netflix and Prime. And Chunky Roll. Oh yeah, Chunky Roll is the dopest. It's the same thing with vinyl and tapes. Heck, podcasting replaced most of radio. Though the Spawn on Me crew is living the good life in both worlds, so props to them. Shout out to them, man. Spawn on Me, man. Shout out to those brothers. He continues to say, I think a discless Xbox is a baller idea, like the iPad for games. I think that this is the kind of steps that Sony would never have the cojones to do until somebody else beats them to it. This is my hope anyway. So, man, look, Cody Clark, brother, I want to thank you again for this great email. I love reading your emails. They're fantastic. They're action-packed, brother. I love them. And I got to tell you, you definitely brought out some points that I never even thought about when it comes to this all digital Xbox. Them actually making it so, I mean, you don't have a disk drive, so you don't need the lens. You don't have to worry about scratch discs because there is no disk drive to put any discs in. Those are definitely positives. I mean, I haven't necessarily had any trouble with discs lately because I don't have any kids, so I don't have to worry about that. But I guess this could really be excellent for people that do have children, people who they're not as careful with the discs, where that option is totally out the window. If you want the game, you have to download it right from the Xbox store on the Xbox. And it could really keep down on that. And like you said, the cost, man, that really makes me wonder. Excellent point, Cody, about them not having to put a Blu-ray disc drive in there, and that could cut costs. So now my question is, I wonder how much this is gonna go for. I mean, is it gonna go for $150? Is it gonna go for $100? Now, wouldn't that be absolutely insane if they could get it to $100? And Cody, we got some more information on the Xbox One, this digital Xbox that's allegedly supposed to be releasing. We're going to talk about that a little later in the show. But Cody, I can't refute anything that you said. The points that you make are valid. They're excellent points. A lot of people are tired of physical media. They don't really care about it. I talked to, shout out to, God dog, man, what's my brother's name? Mastino. Shout out to Mastino, man. I talked to him over the weekend, well, close to the weekend, and he said to me, I don't need any of the physical stuff. Just give me the games. I could care less about the discs. I don't need the clutter. I don't need it. I don't collect them. It's not my thing. And I'm starting to think that more and more people are really leaning towards that side. I mean, unlike me, I love the physical media. I love collecting. You guys know that I have multiple old school systems still in the box. That's my thing. But my thinking is starting to become almost like a dinosaur probably at this point. So for me, this discless Xbox, I'm like, I don't know if that's really gonna work. But according to multiple people, even some of my friends, a lot of my friends, they don't collect. They're on to the next thing. They don't need the physical stuff. And maybe this is where Microsoft sees the future going. I mean, we already heard about Google earlier this week. We're going to talk about that as well. But maybe this is the future that I don't necessarily want, but I'm sure is going to overtake all types of media. We see it. The writing is on the wall. But, Cody, I don't want to be too long-winded with this one, brother, but I truly thank you so much for your feedback, and it is greatly appreciated. So, guys, with that being said, oh man, let's go ahead, brothers, and get into what we all come here for, and that is the gaming news that went down. So let's start out with, who do we have on deck right here? Let's start out with Bethesda. Now, unlike Sony and EA, Bethesda has announced that it will be at E3. They're going to be there, giving a conference which will take place on Sunday, June 9th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. It was also said that this year's theme will be, and I quote, it's going to be together. That's what their theme is, be together. They even started a hashtag on Twitter called @B3. I see what they did there. Now, they also said they will be inviting more fans to be in the live audience. Now, what are some things they could show? I mean, maybe Starfield is a game that they could show. I would love to see some daggone footage on that. They've been talking about that for the last, I think, like 2 years or so. So that would be great to see. But that is up in the air. Nobody knows. But one game that was announced that will be there is Doom Eternal. So we know that that's a sure shot. But I mean, are they gonna show, what is it? What's the 6th game? I can't even remember the name of it. The Elder Scrolls 6 or whatever. I mean, they have so many games they could show. Last year's E3 showing, I didn't think it was bad. I didn't think it was good. I think it was more so split down the middle for myself. So this year, well, no, it was actually pretty good. There was some things in there I liked. More things that I liked than I didn't. So hopefully they can repeat that, maybe show off some new IPs. You know, they are a huge studio. They're always hard at work at something. So hopefully they'll have a great show, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I like the fact that they left it on Sunday, which is their day. They usually go anyway. So this should be very, very interesting. Moving on into some Mortal Kombat 11 news. Now, there will be a closed beta test from March 26th to the 31st for anyone that pre-orders the game. Now, on March 27th, the beta will start at 8 p.m. and it will end at 11:59 p.m. on the 31st. So if you guys are interested in Mortal Kombat 11, you've been seeing the ads, you've been seeing the gameplay, and it's something that you think you might want to take a shot on, hey, you put the money down, pre-order it. You can actually play it in the beta form, get a feel for it. If you don't like it, hey, maybe you can just doggone end your pre-order and say, nah, this isn't for me. So it's an easy way to get into it at a low cost to see if it's something that you want to rock with or not. I got to tell you, I've been looking at these Mortal Kombat, like the character bios and the breakdowns of what their movesets are. God dang, man. I haven't played Mortal Kombat in years, and I must say, this game has been looking pretty darn awesome. One fatality I saw, brother, I think somebody got their whole face sliced off. I said, God dang, it was so brutal. Oh, it was so terrible, man. It was something else just to see a whole sword just chop the face off and it just rolled off real slow. Oh my gosh, they're really going for it. Also, I gotta let you guys know they were saying, I forget the guy's name. Gee whiz, forgive me. But the head producer, he was saying that babalities could be making a comeback in this Mortal Kombat. So a lot of good things are looking up for these guys, and I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be excellent. So moving on from there to the next story. Now, like I say with all rumors, y'all. Oh, buddy. Take this next story with a mustard seed of truth. But anyway, getting to the point, a leaked, A leak coming out of Brazil on Reddit showed someone posting a screenshot that shows a EA Access icon in the PlayStation Store. Now, once again, this could be untrue because we know that when the service launched back in 2014, Sony did decline to put it on the PlayStation 4 platform. So at this point, who really knows? Now, I think this would be awesome. EA Access on the Xbox, from what I've heard, it's an excellent service. You get a certain percentage off of games. You get to try games 10 hours free. Well, I mean, you're paying for it, but, you know, you get to try them out for 10 hours to see if you like them. If you do like them, you get that percentage off. You get older games put into EA Access to play. So what I've heard is nothing but positive things. And I do remember Sony did get some backlash when they said their players don't need this. this. This is not something our players need. And they never gave the players the options to say, well, yeah, this is what we would like to see on the platform. No, Sony just completely sideswiped that right out the way. So maybe not Microsoft, but Sony is seeing that, hey, maybe we do need to do like Microsoft is doing and give people a few more options. Now, I understand that Sony, they are the leader. They are the big guys in the clubhouse. They can do what they want to do. They're running the shop right now. But it never hurts to let your consumer know that, hey, if this is something you guys want, we're not going to deny you it. We'll give it to you. And I mean, it's been almost 5 years now. So maybe Sony is changing their tune. I believe they have some new leadership over there. And one of the departments there at Sony, I believe the marketing team or someone is different in there and they have a different vision. So maybe, just maybe, this is something that they're considering at this point in time. So we'll have to see though. But moving on, let's talk about some Halo Master Chief Collection news. Now, we know that this collection is coming to PC via piecemeal, not all at once, a little bit here, a little bit there. Now, since this announcement, people have wondered, will the game be cross-play? Well, according to community director Brian Jarrett, and I quote, he says, truth be told, right now, we are really focused on making sure that we can bring these games to PC in the right way. But the team would love to hear feedback on this, and as we get further down the road, it's something I think we're going to have to evaluate. And if it's something that the community wants and it makes sense, I think the team wants to make it happen. But right now, we really need to focus on getting these PC products out the right way. End of quote. Now, it's also worth mentioning that Bonnie Ross had kind of put her 10 cents into it. She said, she mentioned that the Master Chief Collection was announced before Play Anywhere, and they're exploring ways to show appreciation. So with those quotes, man, I have to believe, if I'm going out on a limb, I gotta believe that right now, as it stands, there is no way that this crossplay is going to happen. And I really don't think that console players are going to be upset about that, because as it stands at the moment, the mouse and keyboard is not completely compatible with Xbox One right now on the regular market. And that could be a heck of an advantage that PC players could have against console players. And with Bonnie Ross saying, hey, just to let you know, this was a game that was out before we said anything about Play Anywhere, that's a bit of a loophole for them to say, hey, look, don't look at us. We announced this way before this Play Anywhere initiative was ever initiated. So don't hold us to the fire on it. So, I mean, like they said, like Brian Jarrett said, man, look, we gotta get this PC version together first, worry about that, get that situated, and then after we get that fire, all taken care of and out, then maybe we can explore other options. So it's not dead in the water, but at the same time, it looks like it's kind of unlikely to happen right now. So we'll see. But anyway, moving on into the next story. Now, speaking of, let me see, what do we have right here? Hold on. Okay. Well, Sony is in the news again. I mean, they always in the news, mostly for great things. But a Sony patent document published by the Japan Patent Office makes it seem like it looks like the PlayStation VR will be able to function without a breakout box and no direct connection to the PlayStation 4. Now, instead, it will use a radio wave to communicate between the console, the breakout box, and the headset, of course. This is at least what the patent suggests. So basically, this patent, as I looked at the design, you know how right now the PlayStation VR is kind of cumbersome, brother. It has a lot of wires. You got the breakout box that's on the PlayStation, and you can get tangled up in the wires. It's kind of uncomfortable. The way this patent looks, it looks like they're doing away with all of the wires. I mean, no breakout box is necessary to hook up to the PlayStation. It's completely completely wireless. And how amazing would it be to actually play the PlayStation VR without any wires and without having to worry about tripping over any wires? It would be excellent. A lot of people have said in the past that they would have given the PlayStation VR a chance, but they don't like the fact that they need the breakout box and there's so many wires and they feel like they're being hooked up to the Matrix. I mean, for me, it's not a big deal. It doesn't really matter to me. It just comes with the territory, and it's not, look, I'm in it for the experience. I don't care about the wires or anything like that, but not everybody feels that way. Some people do have children that may be running across and they slip and knock out the wire, and darn, your PlayStation VR, the wire just came out and it ripped, and now you got to get a new one. So I can understand where some people's stance would be on this situation, but nonetheless, it looks like, Sony is trying to, they're trying to do better. They're trying to reevaluate the design, and making it wireless would definitely bring a lot more people in. My only question is, I wonder how much that's going to make the PlayStation VR's price hike up. And who knows, this could be for the PlayStation 5, because PS5 is give or take a year and a half out, allegedly, sometime in 2020. So it'll be interesting to see what the price point is and if this patent actually comes to fruition. We'll see. But moving on into some this is huge Nintendo news. CupHead will be heading to the Nintendo Switch on April 18th. Now, this was announced during Nindy's. I like what they did there. Nindy's Showcase. Now, during the event, Nintendo thanked both Studio MDHR, and they said this, I quote, "our friends at Microsoft," end of quote. Also, the game is being published by MDHR for the Nintendo Switch version, where originally Microsoft published it on Xbox One. So I've been seeing stories around that were saying that Microsoft was actually the ones that were going to be publishing this, but it looks like it's MDHR, which is absolutely incredible to see this happen. Now, I mean, look, I gotta admit, it's even more incredible that CupHead is actually coming to a competing platform, which is the Nintendo Switch. And I gotta be honest, I understand that Microsoft had it for about a year. What was it, maybe a year and a half at this point? So, I mean, people that were gonna play it, they already played it. If they played it on Steam, they played it there. If they played it on the Xbox One, they played it there. But to see them actually say, okay, go ahead and put it on the Switch, it is really, really, really interesting, because we heard that this was going to happen a few weeks ago, and then it went silent. And all of a sudden, a week and a half later, bam, CupHead is coming to the Switch. So that makes me believe that also Ori and the Blind Forest might be on its way to the Switch. But am I upset about this? Being an Xbox fan, I will say, look, let's take the fan aspect out of it. I think that it's a great move for Microsoft to make more money. I think and I don't give a darn about their money, but, it does help if they're able to get more money to make hopefully some better titles, because right now they've been doing terrible on that line. But, also MDHR, these guys, their story was quite amazing. I love the fact that they really were very passionate for what they were, for what they were doing as far as CupHead went. They went and remortgaged their houses, and looks like it paid off huge for them. But to see them be able to reach a bigger audience, and, CupHead, it looks like a game that should be on the Switch. I know that might not make sense to a lot of people, and a lot of people might be like, nah, I don't agree with that, but it just seems like a Switch kind of game. But am I upset that it's going to Nintendo? Man, yeah, a little bit, man. Yeah, I am. Because I think that you're just taking content off of your box to put on somebody else's box. Me, I'm all about competition. I don't want this we are the world kind of mentality in gaming. I don't want all of these companies to get along. I don't want it. I want you three to be battling each other at every single step. I don't want this doggone situation where everybody's getting along and everybody's friends. Hey, look, you can be friends. I'm saying like with the other people within another company. Yes, you can be friends, of course. But I'm saying from a corporate standpoint, battle and fight with one another. I don't want to see you guys getting along, because once there is no competition, there is no need for anybody to be forward thinking and try to out-top the other person or the other company. So no, I think Microsoft should have said, nope, we're not doing it. We need to make sure that the players on our console have their own reason. I can't even get it out, man. A reason to stay on the platform. Now, Nintendo has this. What else is next? Banjo-Kazooie? If you decide to make it, I mean, hey, Rare Replay? Is that going to come out on the Switch? Oh, man. I mean, this could be a slippery slope, guys. I don't know, but I don't like it. I don't like it. I'd like to get your comments on it. But anyway, there's no need to really keep on harping on this. But yeah, Microsoft, you're getting too soft out here in these gaming streets. You need to tighten up, brother. Let's move on. Now, this is gonna actually, this is perfect, because this actually goes into what I was just saying. But let's talk about the new digital bully store out here in these PC gaming streets. Let's talk about Epic, and whoa, man, this is how you do it. Now, these guys are not playing around. Now, they have signed an exclusive deal to pick up, listen to this lineup, they're picking up Heavy Rain, Beyond Two Souls, and the latest game from Quantic Dreams, Detroit Become Human. Now, crazy enough, all three of these used to be PlayStation exclusives, going as far back as the PlayStation 3 era. But if that wasn't, oh my goodness, if that wasn't enough, they picked up the Outer Worlds from Obsidian and Ancestors. Now, the Outer Worlds, I'm very interested in that. That's coming to all consoles. But there's some Ancestors, I remember seeing that, the Humankind Odyssey. But on top of that, Control, Remedy's new game Control, that's not out yet, is going to be coming to the platform. Now, Steve Allison, who is the head of Epic Games Store, said Epic only takes 12% of sales and I quote, he said, you deserve 88% from the sale of your game. Now, there is also several other titles that they have acquired for the service. Now, listen, these games that they have acquired, at least the Heavy Rain, the Beyond Two Souls, and Detroit Become Human, which was a PlayStation exclusive, all three of them, they have a year exclusive deal with this publisher, Quantic Dreams. I don't know about Obsidian's game, The Outer Worlds. I'm not sure. But these will not be showing up on Steam. They are in this to win it. I'm telling you, like I said, these guys are hungry. And them only taking 12% from the sale, and they're leaving the publisher, the developer, 88%. Man, Steam has a real problem, but this is what I'm saying. They are making competition. They are out there getting these games for a year exclusive that you cannot get on Steam. If you want to play Detroit Become Human, you gotta go over there to the Epic Store. I saw a lot of PC gamers whining and crying and kicking their feet and mad at daggone Epic for this move. But this is what you need in the gaming industry. It is what pushes the medium forward. So with Steam knowing that they have this kind of competition, that Epic is out there getting these games, getting these exclusive year deals, that is going to push Steam to do the same. They can no longer sit back and just drink on a pina colada on the beach and say the money is coming to me, I don't have any competition. All of a sudden, oh, you gotta tighten up, brother. You gotta get your ducks in a row. You gotta start getting out there and making marketing deals as well to make sure that people continue to stay on your service. Because believe you me, I understand that Epic right now, they are still the very, very small guy. They are the Pepsi in the situation right now. But if this continues to go on, over and over and over again, eventually people are going to start to migrate to Epic. And Epic also laid some great groundwork when they told the developers, look, all we take is 12% of whatever it is you earn. I don't know what Steam is taking as far as the percentage of being able to put their games on their platform, but my goodness, they must be charging a lot more than 12, because Control, that game is coming out and it's exclusive on that platform. The Division, another game. I mean, they are getting big titles. So that's why I say competition is great. You never want to get in a comfortable, relaxed state, because it doesn't make you want to elevate any higher. It has nothing to do with me referring Xbox over PlayStation. PlayStation, I love the freaking PlayStation. Props to them. They have killed it this generation, and Microsoft has got left behind way in the dust. So when I say that it has nothing to do with me wanting Microsoft to beat Sony, I just want everybody to compete. And with Epic being out here doing what they're doing, getting the games that they're getting, this is great for the industry. Somebody wrote an article that said why this is bad that Epic is doing this to Steam, why this should not be the case. Stop crying about it. Get Steam to get up off of their butt and do some groundwork. Make the people that love Steam want to continue to stay over there. That's the thing that I dislike about this whole thing, this whole game, this new gaming trend that's going around. That people think that it's okay for some of these companies to just sit around and not do anything. Just sit there, give me what you want to give me. Don't give me a real reason to stay on your platform, but just think that I'm going to stay there because I've been there for years. No, make these companies work. Make them give you the things that you want to have. You're paying them. They work for you. Forget all of that nonsense about let's get along, let's be together and have a good time. Nah, frick that, man. Work. Make them work. Anyway, this is fantastic. Sony did lose 3 exclusives though, brother. This is crazy. Man, losing Heavy Rain, which is quite a older game, at least 7-8 years old, and them losing Beyond Two Souls. But the one that really gets me, and I'm starting to get hoarse, brother. My voice is starting to daggone crack on the goddamn microphone. But the one that was very, very amazing to see was Detroit Become Human, because I think that just came out in May of last year. So, I mean, again, maybe this is just where the industry is going. It's PC, so I don't really... That's the thing. These are coming out on PC. It's not like Detroit Become Human is coming out on the Switch or it's coming out on the Xbox One platform. It's still on the PC. Now, if they do decide Quantic Dreams, because we got to remember, they did leave. They are no longer under the Sony umbrella. They're off doing their own thing now. So whatever their new title is going to be, I'm sure it's going to be third party. I don't think Sony will have a crack at it, keeping it for a year or any extended exclusive time period. I think it's free fall for everybody. And, that's a whole nother deal. But to actually put it, if they had put this on the Xbox, I'd have been like, God dag, that's rough. But again, they are no longer under the umbrella of Sony, so they're cleared to do what they want to do. But I just think this is very, very interesting to see that Epic is out here really bullying their way in. Now, whether or not they can sustain this amazing tactic of getting these big games and keeping it off of Steam to have people come to their service, I don't know. Only the future will tell, but I can say this, at least for right now, they are off to a heck of a start. I mean, they are really, really fighting Steam. And I think as it stands at the moment, I can't speak for tomorrow or even 10 hours from now, it looks like this is going to be a long, drawn, hard fight between both of them. So, moving on from there, man, I'm sweating, brothers. Oh, man, I'm sweating. But moving on, so just a quick update. It looks like the rumored, and this is shout out to Cody again. This has to do with his take on it. But, the rumored discless Xbox, it looks like it is going to be releasing. Now, this is still a rumor. This has not been confirmed by Microsoft, but I believe Windows Central covered this again. Shout out to Jez Gordon, man, and shout out to Rand Thor as well. Even though Rand doesn't work for Windows Central, I love their podcast that they have. Just check it out. It's awesome, man. But they will be releasing, according to Windows Central, this discless Xbox on May 7th. And this is actually according to documents that Windows Central have obtained, as well as box art, which now this was interesting. The box art, which if it's to be believed, if this is the real box art, it shows that it will include Minecraft, Sea of Thieves, and Forza Horizon 3. It's going to have a 1 terabyte hard drive, and the box art also stresses 3 times on the front of it that it's a disc-free gaming console. It's disc-free. So this got me to really thinking in May, that's basically a month before E3. What a great time it would be to release this. I mean, it would be fantastic. Now, I don't know how much this is going to cost, but if it is coming with 3 games, 3 pretty good games. I mean, Forza is the standout, if you ask me. Some people might like Sea of Thieves because they're into the multiplayer aspect of things. And Minecraft, I mean, heck, you can play that on your 1980 phone, 1984 version, baby, as far as Minecraft goes. But nonetheless, this is really cool that they are including 3 games in the package. And hopefully, it would be great if they did include Game Pass with it as well, just to get people, just into the zeitgeist of having it and being able to just go over there, download the games, and, just play them right there on the console. Kind of get you very, very acclimated with it so that you wouldn't think about ever not being without the service. Now, I do see that, the 1 terabyte hard drive, you're going to need to upgrade that, brother. You're going to definitely need to. If you plan on getting a lot of games, it'll hold you over for a bit, but I mean, at least they are including a 1 terabyte, in it. So, I mean, this is good. This is really good. Like, Cody had mentioned, he brought up some great points about what the positives of this is. And I guess we'll have to see if the May 7th date is to be believed. So, I mean, shout out to Microsoft again for doing this. It's a bold move. They're trying to move the industry forward with this. I see it. Am I behind it 100%? No, I'm not. But it is great that they are trying to look out for the younger consumer and the consumer that, once again, does not care about having physical discs around. So this was cool, pretty cool. But moving on into some more Nintendo news. Now, this is absolutely fantastic for Nintendo. Nintendo was the best-selling console manufacturer for the month of February, outselling both Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Now, this is the kicker. They did so well that they generated the highest hardware dollar sales since February 2011 for Nintendo. And, what's his name? Piscatella, he actually reported on that they haven't had these big sales in February since 2011. And I think that was around, was that the Wii era? I believe the Wii came out, 2006 or 7, somewhere around in there. So yeah, they haven't had these numbers in almost 2 generations, because the Wii U, we know that was not a great. Well, the system was great. It just didn't have the software to really back it up. But, from there to the Nintendo Switch, my goodness, I think they're up to over 30 million units sold in just under 2 years, because I believe March will be their second official year of being out on the market. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that. But if that's to be believed, they're selling like 15 million a year, which is excellent. And they're only ramping up. They're constantly bringing out software. I mean, good gosh, they got CupHead, for goodness sake, on the daggone console, which is excellent for them. So Nintendo, they're really on a tear. They're doing excellent. And I really tip my hat off to them and hope that they continue to have great success in the future. Now, moving on, God, excuse my voice, y'all, but quick news, some more quick news. Control will be releasing. It finally has a date. The game will be releasing on August 27th, 2019. Now, this is according to the Microsoft Digital Store in Canada. Canada, they be leaking like a faucet, brother. They be leaking all kinds of information. But you can actually pre-order it on March 26th. And if you want to know more about the game, it will be the front cover game for April's issue of Game Informer. So if you really want to really get into what the game is about, seeing, more of the graphics, more of the gameplay elements, the story, definitely check out the newest Game Informer that'll be available for April, which is going to be a fantastic month, by the way, because I can't wait to play Days Gone. That game looks excellent. Out the blue, it just looks good. But this is great to hear. I'm really looking forward to Control, and I can't wait to get more information on this game. I think they're going to do a really, really good job on it. Remedy, that is. But moving on into some Walking Dead news. Now, Skybound Games have announced that the final episode for the game series will launch March 26th to bring the gaming franchise to a close. And the trailer looks so good. I actually checked out the trailer. Trailer looks really good. Graphically, it looks fantastic. The best looking Walking Dead game I have seen. It looks great. And I mean, it's really cool that Skybound Games, they actually stepped in when Telltale actually went out of business and couldn't finish the story. I think it's great that they were able to step in and make sure that those people that really put hours and hours and years into this franchise finally get the ending that they deserve to get after putting hours, money, and time into it. So March 26th, for any of you guys that have been into that will finally bring the trilogy, not the trilogy, but the franchise to a close, the gaming franchise, that is. But let's move on and let's talk about some CD Projekt Red news. Now, according to new statements made to investors, CD Projekt Red will have Cyberpunk 2077, and listen to this, brothers, and another major game, both available by 2021. Now, what that other major game could be is anybody's guess. Now, this really, really shocked me to hear that by 2021, both of these projects will be out. So we know the CD Projekt Red is going to be at E3 this year. Could this game possibly release early next year? And could the other game release the following year? I mean, I don't know. And I don't know what the next game could be. The only thing that I hope is the CD Projekt Red is not bringing out a Witcher card game and saying that's basically the newest game that's going to be out. And quite honestly, we haven't heard anything about any other projects. The only thing that I've heard that CD Projekt Red was working on outside of Cyberpunk 2077 was the card game. And we know that they said Witcher. The Witcher is being put on ice for a bit. They're not going to be messing with that for a while. So, I mean, could this be a brand new IP that they have just had wrapped up tight in secret for years? Or could it just be another card game? We'll have to see. But nonetheless, at least now with this information, we can at least pinpoint that Cyberpunk 2077 will be coming out between now and, I mean, I don't think that's anything special, though, to say, hey, we can say it's coming out by 2021, because so many people thought, shoot, it would be out this year, maybe next year. But nonetheless, we know it's not going to slip past 2021. I don't know how amazing that news is, but it's something to think about. So maybe we'll see it sooner than later. Well, of course we will. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Let's move on, god darn it. Now, Sony is set to have, now this is cool. I'm really looking forward to this today. Sony is set to have an event today, which is March 25th, called State of Play, which is being compared to Nintendo Direct and Inside Xbox. Now, the event is supposed to feature new trailers, new game announcements, and new gameplay footage. Now, you can watch the event on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. And the event will start at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we know that Sony, they're not going to be at E3. They've canceled multiple events last year. They weren't at Paris Games Week. They canceled something else that I can't recall offhand, but we know that they've been missing in action a bit when it comes to these events. So a lot of people are thinking that this event, and everybody, we do this every single time with every event. We've done it with Inside Xbox, where we make the event out to be bigger than what it really is going to be. But people are saying that we're going to get Last of Us 2 news here. We're going to get Days Gone news, which I don't think that's too far-fetched. But we're going to see this game that's been rumored to be around that nobody knows about. This is a AAA game. We're going to get some gameplay on that. I don't know. Ghost of Tsushima is supposed to be there. That's plausible. Hideo Kojima's game, Death Stranding, is supposed to be there and showing off some new gameplay of that. I mean, all of this is possible, but people are really putting it on such a huge scale where they're saying this is going to be like E3. And I don't know if Sony is going to do that right now. I understand that they're not going to be at E3, but I cannot believe that Sony wouldn't want to have some major news break out around E3 time, since they're not going to be there, to not just keep them completely out of the news cycle for that week. So I think that this is maybe possibly going to be something about Days Gone, a nice chunk of it, and maybe a few gameplay trailers, but I don't know if it's going to be anything groundbreaking. But nonetheless, we're going to see in a couple of hours, because I'm recording this and it's 10:52 in the morning. So a couple of hours from now, we'll all have our answers to the questions that we've had about this event. But nonetheless, will this be a monthly thing that Sony is starting to do, or will it just be a one-time deal? That's what I'm more so interested in. Will they throw their hat in the ring and start making this event monthly? That would be very interesting to see Sony do that versus just having it one time and that's it. But we do know that Sony also, they do put on a heck of a show. They bring a certain kind of flair to their shows. Now, I don't know if it's going to have that big of a production, because it's not E3. It's just an event that they're having in-house. But Sony has definitely, outside of last year's E3 where they kind of fumbled, they fumbled a bit on that one. They definitely did, when compared to Microsoft. But, will they be able to bring that same magic to the stage? I don't know. We'll have to see. It's just a couple hours away, but I'm rambling right now. So let's go ahead and move on now into some more Sony news. Starting April 1st, digital codes for PlayStation games will be no longer available at retailers. But at the moment, the only exception is Days Gone and Mortal Kombat 11, which will be available for 1 week. Now, after that, you will have to make any digital game purchases on the PlayStation Marketplace. But just to let you guys know, the PSN gift cards, they will still be available at retailers. So basically, Microsoft is no longer going to be, Sony is no longer going to be having their cards at GameStop, at Best Buy, at Target, in digital form. You'll only be able to buy those on their own, on their game store, their digital game store, which to me says, hey, Sony is trying to get all of the money. They're trying to cut everybody else out, which granted, they definitely have a right to do. If it's your game, you should be able to put it where you want to put it. If you want people to come just to your platform to get it and you don't want to split the money with the retailer, or, you just want everybody to just come to your store, then that's what it is. And I don't know anybody that's going in GameStop buying digital codes for games anyway. I've never seen that. I could be out the loop. I don't go to GameStop too much, but that's an interesting move to say the least on Sony's part. But moving on from there, man, I'm botching this whole story. But anyway, so in an interview with Kotaku, matter of fact, I want to say that for later. Because we're almost done, guys. We're almost at the end of the show. Now, this is just some quick news. Angry Birds Isle of Pigs is coming out this week to play. It's going to be available for the PlayStation VR, and it's going to be the same concept, but it's going to be in three-dimensional. And in order to play this game, you're going to need the Move controllers. No price was given, but the game looks interesting. It looks interesting. I ain't gonna say it looks cool, but if you're starving for PlayStation VR content, then maybe you want to check into it. Angry Birds Isle of Pigs. Moving on from there now into some more Nintendo news, which is very interesting. It looks like Nintendo is working on 2 new versions of the Nintendo Switch that could be released as soon as this summer. Now, according to Wall Street Journal, one of the models is said to be the cheaper model and will omit the vibration feature, suggesting that it won't have detachable Joy-Con controls at all. Now, it's said to be seen as a successor to the 3DS, which is interesting because the 3DS is aging. So this would be a nice switchover for that unit. Now, as far as the second model goes, it's a higher end model. Now, even though there are not a lot of details, one source implied there was more to the revision than a simple performance boost. Now, the Wall Street Journal is also saying that the hardware should be announced at E3. So this is very interesting. It's been a lot of rumblings about Nintendo putting out some new hardware, some new Nintendo Switch hardware. And according, once again, to the Wall Street Journal, this should be happening sometime this year. And we could hear about these new quote unquote possible Nintendo Switch units as soon as E3. So this is very, very interesting news. It would be nice to see Nintendo do an update to the Switch. They were saying also in the article, I didn't write this down, so some of it might be a little sketchy, but basically they were going to another manufacturer. What was it? Toshiba. I think it was Toshiba, that they were going to them to make the screen for the Nintendo Switch. So maybe they are going to up it to maybe 1080p, a 1080p screen. I don't know. This is all speculation. None of it's been confirmed by Nintendo, but this is the rumor that's going around, because I believe Toshiba, if that's the company, they lost out the first time. They got outbid by another company that ended up making the screens for the Nintendo Switch. So with them coming back to them, maybe, if it's going to be an upgrade, especially for the one that's supposed to be the higher performing model, maybe that one may have 1080p, a 1080p screen. I doubt if they're going to go with 4K. I don't see that being reality, but nonetheless, very interesting news. I would hope that they say something at E3, and maybe the price point will be cheaper for the entry model, and then, the higher model, maybe it'll stay the same. But it looks like we are living in that era in gaming where you're gonna have a lower tier model and a higher tier model, which is very interesting because we've never seen that in gaming up until this generation. So maybe this is a trend that is not going anywhere anytime soon. And we know that Microsoft said that they're doing the same thing with the Maverick and whatever the other thing is that they got in the works. So yeah, interesting news. But moving on from there, this is just a really quick news story to do with Microsoft. If you have Game Pass, and enjoy indie games on Xbox One. Tomorrow, March 26th, they will be showing titles that were seen at E3 and XO18, and the show is going to start at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll tell you, the only indie game I want to see, brothers and sisters, if y'all listening out there, is The Last Night. The Last Night looked absolutely incredible, and I have heard nothing about that game. So I am going to tune in the hopes that they will be showing off something from this amazing looking game, The Last Night. The other indie titles, outside of Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which I don't even know if that's really an indie title anymore. I think they have some backing from Microsoft, Moon Studios for that title. Outside of those two, it's nothing else that's really on my radar that really piques my interest in the indie field. So anyway, that is the end of the gaming news this week. Let's stay tuned because we will be getting into the question of the week right after this week's video game theater. Stay tuned, guys.
Help me, please. The pain. Ishi. Thank God you're alive. God is not relevant. Please, no. Something is Listen to me, Ishi, okay? Well, you've been injured in the attack. Doc had to patch your brain with the robot's bioprocessor. You're gonna have trouble getting used to it, but it's like an amputation. I'm gonna help you, okay? You are going to help me. I am having a difficult time seeing how you can help me. Your drunken thirst for revenge just killed our crew. I'm sorry. You're sorry. You're sorry? Ishi, listen to me. The bioprocessor. You can't let it take control. You just can't let that happen. I'm going to kill you, Gray. I see no logical reason not to. That is a final Echo instinct leash. Yeah. So what? The communication line. Open it. Mute the mic.
All Final Echo survivors report positions.
Priska, this is Serrano. I'm alive, but stuck on some hotel rooftop. Shake that sweet little can of yours. Locals are congregating. I'm here and need some help.
Any other Echo survivors, switch to tracker, zero in on my location. I'm off to guard the general downtown.
Serrano. Mother here. That changes things, Ishi. Even if you don't want to assassinate that son of a... If he's here, rescue jump ships will be here soon. Process that chance of survival. Can you track the woman? Yeah, got it. We find that broad. We can track her to Serrano and use the general to get off-world. Killing him is counterproductive. I know how important it is.
And welcome back, guys. Welcome back. We are in the final section of the podcast where I ask you, the listener, a question. And this week is absolutely been full of a lot of information pertaining to Google's new streaming service. So my question to you guys is this: is Google's streaming service practical in 2019 and even into 2020? Now, before I get into my opinion about that, I would like to go through a quick interview that the VP of Google, Phil Harrison, had with Kotaku. Now, he said that 30 megabits per second will be the recommended limit for streaming games in 4K 60 frames per second. But for 1080p 60 frames per second, it will require 25 megabits per second. Now, the specs of the Google Stadia are, because we know it's not a console, which I was a little let down by that. I would have loved for it to have been a console, but instead it is a streaming service. So The specs on this are, it has a x86 processor running at 2.7 gigahertz. It's going to be 16 gigabytes of RAM and a AMD custom GPU topping out at a whopping 10.7 teraflops, which greatly outperforms Sony's PlayStation 4 and Microsoft's Xbox One X. So some of the things that they talked about, which caught my attention, was even though I'm not a multiplayer guy, I did like the fact that they were saying you could have different windows. I think up to 4 different windows showing the perspective of your actual comrades that you're playing against on the battlefield. You could see what trouble they may be in and can maybe react accordingly. I thought that was a really great feature. The other feature that I did like was being able to see someone streaming the game. If it's a game that you're interested in and you like it, you just hit the play now button and you're into the game within seconds. Really no loading time. I think they said maybe 5 seconds and you were into the game. That was an excellent feature. I thought that they showed off a nice amount of features. I mean, very impressive showing. But the thing is, we all know that this is before it's actually, well, I shouldn't say before, but we all know that right now this is all speculation. This is what we're being told. Now, whether or not these features actually work in the real world and not a controlled environment is yet to be seen. I mean, Google said that they'll be ready for 8K. When that becomes a thing, they'll be able to stream the games at 8K, which is, man, that's mind blowing. Do I believe it? I don't. Because in the gaming industry, we've been burned so many times. Things seem so great on stage in a controlled environment, but when they get out into my home and your friend's home, can it sustain? Will it work the same way? So I do have a few concerns. One main thing being the data cap. A lot of places have data caps right now where they can't go over a certain amount. And if they do go over that allotted amount of data, then they can be charged $100 extra. Who has that kind of money? The other questions that I have is, will you actually own the games? I mean, I think not, because this is a streaming service. It's just like Netflix. You don't own the games. And with that line of thought, not being able to own the games, how frequently will games be in and out of the service? We see that with Game Pass, where you may start a game and maybe 1 month it was on there. The following month you go back, you're trying to finish it up. It's gone. You no longer have that in the rotation. So there are a few questions that I have about the service. Is it as seamless as it seems? Will the servers, the Google servers, be in my local area? I'm in Baltimore. Baltimore is not the biggest city. It's not like a New York or a San Francisco or Chicago. You know, very, very big cities. I mean, it's a mid-sized city, but it's not like a huge city where I live. And that makes me think about other cities that are smaller than the one that I'm in. Could it actually be something that others could really use? Is it a service that everyone can use? Now, I know that Phil Harrison said that this isn't for everybody right now, you know, and it's going to take time to catch on, but they're trying to get the people that want to be in to come on in right now. I mean, the other question that I have, and I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but is what first party games are you going to have? I understand that they have, said that they are going to have their own outfit where it will be exclusive content there, where, you know, you'll be able to get games on that service that you can't get on others. I'm very questionable about that. You know, I don't know if they've had games already underway that they've been working on, or if they're actually starting from ground zero right now as we speak. So I know that they hinted at actually being at E3. They did not say they were going to be there, but they did say that they would be revealing more information over the summer. And my mind automatically went to E3, because what event happens over the summer is E3, the biggest gaming event of the year. So we'll see if they're there. Maybe they'll, lay out more of their plan and let us see how much pricing is going to be, because I can't imagine how much a service like this is going to cost. The data, there's so many questions. So that's why I'm asking you guys, is Google's streaming service practical in 2019 and even going into 2020? You guys can interact with the show and leave your comments. Let your voice be heard by calling in at 443-216-9934, or you can email the show, and the email is theanalogcirclepodcast@gmail.com. Guys, as always, I've had a wonderful time with y'all this week, and I can't wait to do it again next week. So with that being said, always remember, it is not about the consoles, it's about the games. So with that being said, until next week, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.